I now call to order the July 22nd, 2019 meeting of the New Caney Independent School District Board of Trustees. Current time 9:60, meeting 6:33. Let a minute show the quorum is present with all members in attendance, with Mrs. Carroll being absent. Please rise for invocation to be given by Mr. Trout. Remain standing for the pledge of allegiance and honor the Texas flag to be led by Mr. Warwick.
Father God, we just thank you for this time together, Lord, and we just ask you to watch over all these administrators and teachers as we're getting ready to go back into school, Lord. We ask you to watch over the students and just help them to get ready to learn, and just ask for a wonderful year this year. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Item 2 on the agenda is consideration of out-of-state trip for Porter High School Skills USA National Officers, presented by Mr. Warren.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Helgoff, the criminal justice teacher at Porter High School, and also Ashley Liquids. She is one of the national officers for Skills USA from Porter High School. Kenneth Eccles will not able to be with us tonight. They just like to say a short word.
I just wanted to come personally thank the board for their support of us. Without y'all's support, we could not do what we've done with these national officers. They work very hard, and they're going to represent Porter High School very well this year. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashley Linkowitz, and I'm the Skills USA National Region 4 Vice President. I was elected this past June at the National Leadership and Skills Conference in Louisville, Kentucky, by a majority vote from the 50 states as well as the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. I will now get to spend my junior year traveling the country and advocating for career and technical education. I'm here tonight to thank the Caney ISD Board of Trustees for allowing me to travel not only to local competitions, but to national competitions as well. Without your support, I wouldn't be where I am today. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
So for the agenda item, as Ashley so greatly said, they do a lot of work, and were elected to this office. We mentioned quite a few things in the summary for you, but we're asking tonight that if you would approve for them to travel to Washington, D.C. on July 23rd through the 28th for national officer training and all other trips associated with their national officer duties. Any questions?
Well, Ashley, you did a great job. We appreciate you representing our school, and do us a great job all year. Just remember, you're representing us all. I have a lot of pressure.
I would like to say that the funding for their trip for the two students is handled by Skills USA, and the funding for Mr. Helgoff or another sponsor that would travel with them is handled by the CTE budget.
Any other questions or discussion? Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state trip for Porter High School Skills USA National Officers? Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is no. The motion is approved. Good luck. Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is open forum. We have nobody signed up. So item 4 on the agenda is closed meeting. Oh yeah, that's John. Right. Item 4 on the agenda is closed meeting. The board will now meet in closed meeting under the authority of Texas Government Code 551.074 for purpose of personnel matter, Government Code 551.071 for attorney consultation, Government Code 551.072 for deliberation regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Any actions or result of closed session discussion will take place after the board reconvenes an open meeting. The current time is 6:37. recorded at its closed meeting at 8:29. Item 5 on the agenda is superintendent report.
First, I'd like to have Ms. Pearson introduce one of our new employees. Trina?
Ashley Walker, who's going to be our HR coordinator at Professional Growth.
And Mr. Billy.
Morning. Most of y'all met Nick the other day. He's our new Director of Transportation coming from St. Angelo ISD.
Welcome aboard. All right, Mr. Stripling, CTE report.
Good evening again. It's an honor to be able to present the yearly CTE report to you. We've got a couple slides for us to work through. The first slide that comes up will be our district staff. Just thought it would be good to possibly put a face with some names that you may hear from time to time, and some of our responsibilities. I won't be going over any of those in particular unless you have a question about any of them. On the next slide, we would like to start out with our program involvement. This is always a highlight of one of our reports, and I'll just run through a few things here. 91% of both Porter and New Caney High School students are enrolled in at least one CTE course during the year, 29% at Infinity. 50% of our 7th and 8th graders are involved in CTE as being enrolled in at least one course during the semester, in the spring semester, and 38% during the fall semester. It's a little bit of discrepancy there, but it is one thing there is middle school courses are usually a semester-long course, and during the spring semester they just seem to take the board. It gets scheduled for. And 73 CTE teachers provide instruction across the district. I won't go over the funding part. If is there any questions on that, we can get to that afterwards. But you can see the funding and the FTEs that we expect and that we've had over the past year. On the next slide, we look at the student involvement in their CTSOs, their career and technical student organizations. These are the things that you see month to month that you approve out-of-state trips for, or that you see in May when we honor students as their achievements here in this building. There are several things that our students do in these competitions. I can't go over all of them, but we have over 1,100 individuals and teams that participate. And from that, you can see the number of students that have advanced either from district level to state or from state level to national level competitions. Another piece there that we like to discuss and point out each year is the amount of funds that these students gain themselves. This amount of money, in this case this year over $400,000, is earned by these students to use for scholarships or for future projects. And they do this with the sale of animals at their livestock shows or possibly scholarships. And you saw that we have 2 national officers tonight. We approved that. We appreciate that. On the next slide, the last slide is probably where I wanted to spend the most amount of our time, and I'll be brief. These are the things that are going on currently in the district, so things that we're expecting to happen. The very first bullets are about a transition year that we will be under during the 1920 school year. We're 3 programs that we have major transitions happening in. One of them is the Perkins grant. Perkins 5 was approved by the president a year ago, and it has been worked on and sent out to us. This year will be a transition year for it. Also for programs of study, which is a huge task that Brooke and I, and Brooke is here with me tonight. I appreciate her being here for questions if we need to. But we sat in on a TDA update last week at our CTAC conference with programs of study. And this is going to be a major change for how we offer courses and the sequence of courses coming up starting next school year. And we'll transition into those. So this year will be a major year getting ready for that. There is a link there. Hopefully in your board book you can go to that link and you can look at those programs of study. TDA and CTE is changing quite a few things. They're really aligning these programs of study to Perkins 5. And and what Perkins 5 has sent to us. Also, House Bill 3, which you guys are probably a little bit aware of. There are several changes or several things that happen with CTE there. I'm not going to go into any of those individually unless you have questions, but we learned some things over the last week that we had opened our eyes on that were different than what we thought with House Bill 3. So we're working through those as TPA gives us some guidance. The middle part there on that slide is implementation of the middle school programs here at Caney ISD. Last November, we presented to the middle school staff, middle school principals, our suggested guidelines for what we do in middle schools in preparation and getting students ready for their 4-year plans, and that's been our focus. And we've increased our CTE offerings at the middle school by doing that. We really like for our middle school 8th graders to take a college and career readiness course during their fall semester if possible, so that they can get ready to develop their 4-year plan sometime during November and December. So we like to push that to them. We also offer 4 investigating career cluster courses in which middle schoolers can learn about those career pathways that are available at their feeder high schools. The last thing on the slide there is just a little bit of information. I know that we probably have some new board members since the last time that we introduced this to the board a year or so ago. But to talk a little bit about STAR programs, as we build our 3rd high school, we're looking at dividing out some of our upper level CTE courses into specific high schools, into the 3 specific high schools, and those high schools would be STAR program high schools. And you can see from that in the bullets that are underneath that New Caney High School would be an architecture, construction, transportation, distribution, and logistics, and manufacturing focused high schools. Porter High School, which does a great job with these programs, law, public service, engineering, and robotics, and also a consideration of a new program of study that TEA is bringing out to us in energy. And then high school number 3, which we're designing and working on right now, would be health sciences, biomedical, and veterinary medicine. These STAR programs fit really well into current facilities that we have, and also some of the things that these campuses are really strong in. So that was our thought behind that, and that's what we've been trying to move forward with. Each high school would continue to have those programs that are listed there in the bottom of the last floor. We also reported to the board during that time that our students would remain with their high school that they're at. They would still be at New Caney Eagle, even though they might want to be in health sciences. They would stay at New Caney Eagle for a quarter smart. If they wanted to be in law, public service, they may be in high school number 3. They may be at New Caney Eagle, but they would still stay that, even though they would take upper level courses at their STAR campus, which would be Porter High School for that law public service. We still have a lot of work to do on that. A lot of things to prepare over the next couple of years to get ready for that, but we're excited about it, and we believe that it's a great program for Caney ISD. Any questions?
You make up a great team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Thank y'all for letting me
Great
help.
job. All right, Dr. Rios.
Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to share out some of what our dual language and our ESL students are doing here at Caney ISD. I just want to say for the past 13 years, Caney ISD has been the pioneer for dual language. Everybody's kind of just jumping on board now. And so we're really excited. We've built some great partnerships with many districts. Klein and Conroe ISD have adopted our program model, and we're really excited about that. For the new board members, the program model that we do have is one-way, two-way. For our one-way, it serves English learners. Our two-way is English learners and native English speakers. And this is through all content areas, 50-50, either A-day, B-day, or half-day structure. One of the things that we're really proud about, we had our English learners here in Texas are expected to make adequate yearly progress in their English proficiency. In that, we review their STAR data, we look at their TELPAS. The TELPAS assessment measures listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And if they meet that exit criteria, they're actually able to get off of bilingual ESL services. The beauty of that here in Caney ISD is that they get to remain in the dual language program. So last year we had 72 kids exit, and this year we had over 700 students. So we're very proud of the work our teachers and administrators are doing. One of the things I wanted to bring up was there were some changes to legislation through House Bill 3. We are not going to be receiving funding for our native English speakers who are in a two-way dual language program. So we're really excited about that. Prior to this evening, you were provided a document that had different pieces of data. I wanted to specifically highlight one of the things that we really like to monitor is how our native English speakers who are in a general education setting performing compared to our native English speakers who are in a dual language program. And as you can see, they outperform in every area, and you should have those graphs in front of you. As kids exit out of these services, we like to monitor them, and we actually code them in teams as monitor students. And as we looked at that, our monitor kids are outperforming in 7th and 8th grade. We looked at specifically 7th grade writing and 8th grade social studies. What we're also most proud about is English 1 and 2 EOCs. Our students have doubled their scores. Our English learners doubled their scores this year. So we're very excited about the progress that they have made. Lastly, I just wanted to specifically highlight, we've had a great partnership with Trina Pearson, our Director of Recruitment and Retention. We're really just trying to explore better ways to hire highly effective bilingual teachers. So we thank you so much for the opportunity, and I just look forward to sharing more great news next year.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. We appreciate your leadership, we appreciate your team, and we're proud of what we're doing with our dual language program. Thank you. Mr. Sykes.
Sir, just want to take a minute to summarize or give you a little bit of summary about athletics in your packet. Some numbers compared to last year to this year, as well as team individual accomplishments. We continue to work. We've made a lot of progress in the last few years. We've got a long way to go, not near where we need to be. But as I told somebody today at the coaching school, we're a lot better than we were 7 years ago when I got here. And that is due in large part to your support and Mr. Franklin's leadership, and I appreciate that very much. So y'all really don't want to hear from me, though. You'd much rather hear from Coach Pennington and Coach Holly. So I'm going to come up and Brady's going to start. Then he'll talk a little bit about the new Caney side.
Y'all have some more paperwork. Real simple.
Thank you, sir. I'm excited you're going to come out. I'm really excited.
How does that go? Well, let me echo what Mr. Sipes said. Number one, we are very blessed to be here. We really are. I think Jim would tell you the same thing. And you know, I'm kind of getting up there. Since when I started, I've got a lot more gray hairs, and I'm blessed that this is where I like to sail on off into the sunset. You know, whenever that time is. This is truly a special place, and you know, one of the things on the back sheet, on that very back sheet, kind of gives you some numbers where our numbers are in our athletic programs, and you know, some records and stuff on there. And what I would tell you is, you know, Brent hit, you know, kind of nailed the head a little bit. We're not anywhere where we want to be. And so in some areas that obviously we need to improve on, I promise you we've had those conversations, and you know, plans are being discussed and made about what we can do to get better. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to get our kids better and our program better, and I think we're well on our way to do that. One of the things that I would highlight with you, it's not on your packet right there, but I can promise you that we're getting bigger, stronger, and faster. Our off-season programs are, you know, our head coaches that are in place right now do a tremendous job of stressing, you know, strength and conditioning, and those guys are doing a great job with that. And you know, I want to remind you, not that you need reminding, but one of the very first meetings I went to as a head football coach and athletic director, and I've told this story before, you know, some of you've heard it, but I went to my very first Booster Club meeting, and I was the third coach in the third year, and it's nobody's fault, it's just the way things had kind of played out. And the first question right off the bat, I mean, I just got myself introduced and told her where I was from, and boy, this lady, she raised her hand up, and she said, "Are you going to be here longer than 1 year?" And so with that being said, I just finished up my 8th year at New Caney High School, and we're heading into year 9. But I do want to remind you that it took me 4 years to get this thing built and turned around. And so it does take time. And a lot of our coaches right now, just because it's just the journey that we've been on, are young in their programs. And we've got a softball coach that just finished up her 2nd year, and we got Coach Wiggs doing a tremendous job. And I'm excited about her. Coach Hall with the baseball program is brand new, just finished up his 2nd year, and we just hired a brand new soccer coach, and our volleyball coach is going into her 2nd year. So we got a lot of young programs going on, but I promise you we're going to work hard to get this thing right in all areas. Now, one of the things that we've been very blessed on the football side of it, and it took us a while. It was year 5 before we got into the playoffs. So we were here for 4 years building and getting the structure right, and what you got in front of you right there is really what we built this thing on. And I just had a coaches meeting last Friday, and this is exactly what I gave them, what we were stressing. We have to remind ourselves why we're doing this and what we want to be about at New Caney. And so on that sheet, just go through some highlights right there. First of all, at the very top, if you notice, it says making a positive impact on New Caney High School through our athletic program. Well, one of the things that, I'm not saying this is right, but I'm going to tell you this, I believe it to be true, that an athletic program at a high school can have a tremendous impact on the culture and on the pride that those kids go to school with every day. And I think what we do on the athletic side is extremely important. And so these are things that we want to stress so that we can make sure that our kids are being emphasized the right thing by our coaches. Because being a coach is a tremendous platform to make quite a difference in a kid's life. So first of all, there's 2 types of coaches. There's a transactional coach, which all he thinks about is winning. And we got a lot of coaches out there, we want to win. But that's not the kind of coaches that I want in New Caney. The second one right there, transformational coach, that's the kind of coaches we want. And transformational coach is more interested in being a teacher and development of character first and foremost. And then if you'll notice in that next sentence, it says winning is the byproduct of the way you do things. So we're going to be successful at New Caney. We're going to do things right, but we're going to absolutely impact our kids in a positive way so that they can be productive citizens in our community. So our plan, basically we've kind of broken it down, and we got to have a plan of action. So just talking to our coaches, must have a basic principle guidelines that kind of serve as guidelines for our coaches and the actions that they portray to their kids. The principles or pillars will define our culture, and if you're consistent with holding the kids to those principles and standards, then it will become part of them, and thus your culture will be defined by our athletes. So we want the kids to kind of self-contain themselves or self-guide themselves, and that's what we're looking for out of our kids. So basic principles that guide our program. Let me tell you something. You just look at our world today. My number 1 rule in our athletic program, we're going to respect authority figures in our life. That means their mamas and daddies, and that means their teachers, principals, the custodial lady. We're going to respect authority figures in our lives, and we're going to respect each other. That's a big deal to me, because I think that's so not happening in our world today. I have had the pleasure of going to a lot of Little League baseball games this summer. I've got a little 5-year-old that was real involved in some Little League baseball, and I'm amazed at how these kids talk to their parents, at 5 years old. I'm just like, no, that didn't just happen. That didn't just come out of his mouth. And so I just, to tell our coaches, we're going to demand that, teach that, because I'm not sure they're always getting that at home. Character and integrity. Our coaches are going to teach some type of curriculum of character and integrity. And we've got, a couple of curriculums in leadership program, but we're going to do that. We're going to be unselfish. We're going to have a servant's heart. We're going to teach tremendous effort. I know that's what y'all want to see. When you go watch a New Caney team play, you want to see some bunch of kids out there busting their tail, and we're going to do that. And then something I think is really uncommon, we're going to be tremendous encouragers of each other, and you're going to see that on the field, when our kids are on the field. To kind of end things up a little bit for me, there's a magazine, Texas Coach Magazine comes out, and this is just a little short insert about the impact of a coach. This is what I really believe. The impact of a coach on an athlete's life is significant. In coaching, I stand on a solid foundation and belief of being significant. Success is one thing, but being significant is another. I truly believe that the worth of a coach is not measured on the resume or even the wins and losses, but by the impact you land and leave on your athletes. That's the kind of people that I really believe that we have right now at New Caney High School, impacting our kids, which will later impact our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your staff and your commitment to doing the right thing. Coach Holly.
It looks very nice, Jim. Thank you. You look very nice. That's a story. That's what I've heard that several times.
I tell you what, Brady did a great job. I can still here and say ditto and probably be done, but I want to brag on our athletic department a little bit. I did a little bit different, and I kind of broke it down in some phases as far as the growth of our program over the last 3 years, and moving in the right direction with what I call our Spartan family, with the middle schools and also the high schools, and we made a great impact. And I want to insult your intelligence, and you can see the numbers there and read them for yourself. I will say this, and it's in your packets there as well. There's no doubt, whether it's with athletics, extracurricular, whether it's with academics, whatever the case may be, you have to have great structure. And I've never been in a place that is structured like New Caney ISD. From the school board, to the superintendent, to the athletic director, to administrators, all the way down. It's set up for success. And I want to encourage you guys to keep doing what you guys do, because, going through coaching school today, people know about New Caney ISD now. And people talk about New Caney ISD and the great things that are going on in our district. And that's a direct reflection of you guys and what you guys do. I remember when I first came here 3 years ago, we took our kids to a 7-on-7 tournament over at Woodlands High School. And I'll never forget, I was sitting in the end zone with a bunch of Woodlands coaches, a bunch of Klein coaches, a bunch of parents, and we were playing at Woodlands High School. And I heard some of the administrators and coaches say, well, who's that team that they're playing? They said Porter. And they said, where's Porter at? And we're right here next door neighbors, and they had no idea who Porter was. And but that's no longer the case. This district is making great strides, and I'm very, very proud to be a part of this district. A couple things I do want to point out, and I know you guys know this, the difference that athletics can make in a school. And one of those is academics. We had 758 students who were in athletics this year at Porter High School. And of those that fell to classes, we do it in 9 weeks period, but last 9 weeks was 36. That's a 4%, a little over a 4% failure rate for athletics. The non-student athlete is about a 26% failure rate. And that number will even grow even greater if we include fine arts. And so as you well know, being involved in something makes a huge difference in kids' lives. And so we're very proud of that number. Another thing that I'm very proud of in our side of the family over there is, you have to work hard. And that was one of the biggest challenges we had to face when we first came in here, is changing some mindsets, changing some culture. We'll talk about that very briefly again. And one of my favorite quotes is by Theodore Roosevelt. It says, never throughout history has a person who led a life of ease left a name worth remembering. And I think that says a lot. You have to invest. You have to do things the right way. And we're very proud of it. When we first got here, we started the summer strength and conditioning program, and we had a little over 200 kids. This past year, we have about 4 or 5 more days left in that program. We had 415 kids participate in our summer athletic program this summer.
And so the kids are starting to get there, they're starting to understand, they're starting to invest, they're starting to do the things they need to do to be successful and develop championship programs. And I'll pass over a little bit to the some of the highlights of some of the things we're really proud of and what we do in our athletic programs. You know, we're very involved in elementary schools. A lot of schools, the principals are here. They do a great job of letting us get involved with the kids with the reading programs, elementary nights, field days, the middle school leagues, things of that nature. And so that's a great way to reach out and do some community service there. In addition to that, you know, we've raised lots of money in athletics for all different types of sport groups, especially cancer awareness. I know just in football alone, we've raised over $15,000 in 3 years that we give in cancer research. I believe the number's around 26,000 with all of our sports combined over at the high school for the last 3 years. And then we developed our cancer programs to develop that even more for the summer workouts and stuff like that. I want to close up. You have the structure of a championship program, why we feel that's important, and I said talked briefly about that earlier. But one of the things we try to do in building that championship culture over there at Porter High School, there's 3 things that must happen. The first thing is culture, and I can sit here and talk to you about 4 hours about culture and what that means. But the bottom line, culture is about connecting people. And if you can't do that, you're going to have a hard time being successful. And there's lots of different types of relationships when I say that. Whether it's teachers, whether it's administration, whether it's school board, whatever the case may be, you have to be able to connect people, and that's one of the 3 things we have to do. I do know this. I know when your championship culture is working, there's a couple things that must happen. That's when your best players, your best athletes, or your leaders are the hardest working people. And when you have a championship culture and you have that investment, when they start becoming your voice, that's when you start being championship. That's when you start getting to the elite levels. When they start doing what you want them to do, and they're starting to teach that. And to me, there's 3 types of leaders. And there's 3 types of teams. There's bad teams that nobody leads. There's average teams, and those are coaches-led teams. And there's elite teams, and when you get to elite teams, that's when players lead. And that's the goal we're trying to get. And we're not quite there yet on our Spartan family, but that's the goal we're trying to get. We're trying to get where our players are leading the teams, and when you get there, you get to be a elite team. The second thing, you have to have that vision. And the vision must be visible and clear, and it has to be a successful outcome. And that's what you want to try to get. The last thing is the process. And it's a purpose-driven culture. And it all starts about who you are and you identify with. And for us, it's all about family. That's what we preach. That's what we strive to go by. That's what we do in middle schools, always do the high school. And that's just an acronym for forget about me, I love you. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's always about somebody else. So we start there, and that's our process. In 3 years, we made a lot of strides. Again, like we talked about, we're not where we want to be at. We understand that. We want more. We talk to our kids all the time. One thing that was really awkward for our kids when we first got there, we started talking about state championships. And they just kind of looked at us like we're crazy. But we believe in our kids. We believe in our kids. We believe in our program. And we want to be the best. And so that's what we shoot for. And so we're not there, but we're getting there. We're moving in the right direction. And we sure appreciate all you guys do for us and help us make that happen. And if we ever have any questions about anything I gave you, just feel free to call me.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for your staff. Wonderful job. Dr. Powers?
Board, we are planning a district-wide convocation this year, 2 weeks from tonight, right here in the stadium, similar to what we did in 2017. Wanted to share some details related to that event. Start at 7 p.m. August 5th. All staff will report to work at 1 p.m. that day. We're going to do something a little bit differently from 2 years ago. Our 2 high schools are going to host, or they're planning, and they're going to host the feeder pattern pep rallies. So most staff will arrive at the 2 high schools sometime in the afternoon and then be transported over to the stadium close to 7 o'clock. We're going to feed everybody that day. Our keynote speaker is Inky Johnson. There's a bio in your materials. Mr. Johnson was a former Division I football player at the University of Tennessee who suffered a career-ending, debilitating injury and has gone on to become a motivational speaker. So he'll share a message related to overcoming challenges and perseverance and that sort of thing. like every event, we'll involve students the best we can. We'll have our bands out here for the national anthem. We're going to have kids from K through 12 helping us with the Pledge of Allegiance that night. We have 2 students who will be the MC of the event as well. And seating for the board is in your packet. Are there any questions related to that? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Powers. Great job. Appreciate it.
Item 6 on the agenda is reports or proposals from board members. Are there any reports? Item 7 on the agenda is consideration of consent calendar, consideration of financial report, consideration of person report, consideration of person report, consideration of minutes, consideration of policy FD local, and consideration of MOU JJEP. Are there any questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second. Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Aye. The opposed is no. The motion is approved. Item 8 on the agenda is consideration of the approval of CPR 02 in amount of not to exceed $95,000 to reinstall dismantled outside air duct detectors and tie into the fire alarm systems bond 2015 Porter High School renovations project 006 2015A presented by Mr. Coward.
Yes, sir. This change order is to hook everything back over at Porter High School. This is a new fire code requirement, so we've got to hook the switch into the system back up so that way dampers stay closed when the fire alarm goes off. So it's a change order requested now.
Other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the CPR 02 in the amount not to exceed $95,000 to reinstall dismantled outside air duct detectors and tie into the fire's alarm system bond 2015 Porter High School renovation project 006-2015A? Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, the vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is no. The motion is approved. Item 9 on the agenda is consideration and approval for terminating contracts for Tyler Munis, financial and HR software and related services, and for the negotiating and entering into the possible termination agreement presented by Mr. Christie. Hello, Dan.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you doing? Mr. West, you've approved the motion as read.
Okay. So, are there any other questions or further discussion? Are there any other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the terminating the contract for Tyler Munis Financial HR software and related services for the negotiating and entering into a possible termination agreement?
I move to approve the termination of contracts for Tyler Munis Finance/HR software and or related services, and to delegate authority to the superintendent or his designee to take any and all action with respect to such terminations, including but not limited to terminating such contracts in whole or in part, giving notice of termination, and negotiating and entering into a possible termination agreement and any other necessary agreements subject to legal review.
Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is no. The motion is approved. Item 10 on the agenda is consideration and adoption of order calling school trustee elections and taking all necessary action therefore, presented by Mr. Howard.
Board, the deadline to order the Board of Trustee election for November is August 19th, which is the night of our next board meeting. So in the interest of being able to report in a timely manner, we're asking that you adopt the order to call for that election this evening.
Any other questions or further discussion? There's a motion to approve adopting the order calling the school trustee elections and taking all necessary action therefore. Second. Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed is no. The motion is approved. Item 11 on the agenda is consideration of election agreements presented by Mr. Powers again.
We partner with Montgomery County and Harris County for our board elections. So this will allow us to execute those election agreements. I think you have Montgomery County already. We haven't received Harris yet, but we'll be able to go ahead and execute that. So we're asking that you approve those agreements.
Any other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve election agreements? Resolutions have been moved and seconded. There be no further discussion. A vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is no. The motion is approved. Item 12 on the agenda is consideration of approval of 2019-2020 Parent-Student Handbook and Student Code of Conduct, presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, sir. We've standard operating procedure for the upcoming school year. It is a legislative session, so there's quite a few changes. We've also made some hires, so there's some name changes in there, some dress code changes. This has been reviewed with our principals. They're all supportive of that, and the changes that have been made. So I'm asking your approval so we can get that in place and get the school started.
Yes, sir. Any other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the 2019-2020 Parent-Student Handbook and Student Code of Conduct? Second. Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is no. The motion is approved. Item 13 on the agenda is consideration of resolution casting ballots for elections of a person to a board of directors of the Harris County Appraisal District, presented by Mr.
Everybody's got their selection.
We've had our selection, and who was the board?
Yeah, I move to adopt the proposed.
So read the four.
If everyone could
Read the four.
this one.
Yeah, read the four nominees.
Okay, so the
start.
four nominees, yeah. Jennifer Kay, Ben Pape, Robert Sitton, and Deanne Thompson. You could make your selection and send it this way. Well, I guess I mixed it. Is this everyone?
Yeah, it's all three of us are good.
Officially. All right, so, as no, it's been cast here, I move to adopt the proposed resolution nominating Robert Sitton to the Harris County Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Are there any other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the resolution casting ballot for the election of the person to the board of directors, being Mr. Sitton, to the board of directors of Harris County Appraisal District? Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Item 14 on the agenda is consideration of approval of the proposed mediation agreement regarding Michael F., presented by Ms. Chase.
Good evening.
Hello.
I'm here tonight to recommend the confidential mediation agreement related to the special education student case, which was presented post session tonight.
Are there any other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the proposed mediation agreement regarding Michael F.?
Second.
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the informal mediation agreement between the special education case Michael F. as presented.
Second.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is no. The motion is approved. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 9:08.